Hello everyone, welcome back to Gut Check, where I give you my initial reaction to the latest episode of Doctor Who. And this week we have the Robot Revolution. We have a new season of Doctor Who. Huzzah! But you wouldn't think it online because everybody's talking about Doctor Who being cancelled and going on hiatus. That's a future issue. We're not going to talk about that here. We're going to use the TARDIS and we're not going to use the TARDIS. We're going to live in the present and we're going to enjoy the Doctor and Belinda's journey. And then we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. Whether there is a season 3, who knows? I'm not worrying about it. I have not talked about season 2 on the channel at all, and that's because I've not really engaged with it, and this will explain my viewpoint coming into this season. With season 1, I fell down the hype rabbit hole, sort of looking at every little episode preview that there was, and looking at the little Easter eggs Russell T Davies was leaving. And that way led to disappointment with the Empire of Death, which was disappointing. That's putting it politely, actually. So I thought, you know what, for season 2, I am not going to do the fan thing and absorb myself and look for breadcrumbs. Because, you know, Doctor Who is our favourite show. We love it, we put it on a pedestal, and we expect great things of it. And I think, you know, when we get these breadcrumbs, you know, we examine it and we sort of make our own theories, and that's brilliant, and I love that side of the fandom. But I think that way leads to disappointment when your theory doesn't line up with what's happening in the show, and your theory just seems way cooler than what the creative team come up with. So I have decided this time to take Doctor Who off its little special pedestal and go, this is great, this is lovely, this is my favourite show, I love it. I'm just going to treat it like an ordinary TV show, because, you know, as Doctor Who fans, we don't watch, we examine, we look for things. And it's just, I'm having a different type of relationship with the show this time. And hopefully have a better time with it. So that's my viewpoint coming into this season. I feel like I might have said something a little bit sacrilegious, and the Doctor Who Appreciation Society are going to be knocking my door saying, please, we need your Doctor Who fan card. But until they knock the door, let's talk about the Robot Revolution. What did I think of it? Because it's just my initial reaction to it. And I had a lot of fun with it. I thought that it did what a season opener should do. It did its main job of introducing us to our new companion, Belinda. Hinted at sort of the mystery and a little bit of an arc where we're going with this series to get invested into this season. I think there was this wonderful sort of RTD1 energy to it. It felt like sort of Smith and Jones meets sort of Partners in Crime. It just had that wonderful sort of pacey feel to it, which, you know, I really did appreciate with it. The story itself, pretty straightforward. You know, Belinda being given a star certificate, which I think is a nice little through line from Joy to the World, with that sort of having sort of stars being one of the main things within it. I said I wouldn't really examine it, but old habits die hard, right? And the robots coming to collect their queen, Belinda, you know, with the planet being named after her. I guess it's better than being named after a road sign, but hey, there we go. And it's basically stop a robot revolution and stop, you know, the AI incel generator, which I think is probably more topical now than when this was being made back in 2023, I think, when this story was made. The aesthetic of Planet Belinda I adore. I love the sort of 1950s B-movie aesthetic. I thought that was a great look and vibe for the planet, and they were sort of a nice contrast against the sort of more modern interpretation of robots with sort of the big red robots, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we're going to talk about my favourite thing about this episode, my little guy, my little dude, the little polish robot, who again has this nice sort of 1950s robot aesthetic, who could be the next K9. I know his vocab's a little bit limited, we're just saying polish, but he's going places, and I want a remote control polish robot. I think he'd be really cool. So speaking of the other robot, I guess the main robots, the big red robots, which they're just Doctor Who, aren't they? They are such a cool design. They are clunky and awkward. You know, they can't really sort of hold their guns up. And that's just Doctor Who. They kind of distill Doctor Who, don't they? Them being sort of look really cool, but they're kind of janky at the same time. And that's Doctor Who. I think the voice of them, done by Nicholas Briggs, as you would expect, the monster guy, they had this sort of Revenge of the Cybermen type of voice, you know, this sort of cyber leader with hands on hips, intensify. They had that sort of feel to it, which I thought, you know, perfect, great. They're sort of emoji bots meet the sort of dinosaur on a spaceship sort of robots in a way, which is cool, and the Sarah Jane Adventure robots as well. So yeah, big fan of the robots. The main villain of the piece, the AI generator Al, played by Johnny Green, who I think did a wonderful job, you know, portraying this sort of very menacing and very sort of sick and twisted character, and again very sort of a little bit Sideman-esque with sort of the dialogue we get within there. I think that was another cool idea within this story, with sort of the robots missing sort of the ninth word, I think, and that was a really nice sort of interesting and cool concept within the actual story. And again, the AI generator design great, sort of a Wizard of Oz look, and then the sort of more cybernetic look, again really tremendous. Let's talk about the main star, not the star certificate, but that was a wonderfully directed sequence actually, when the two star certificates sort of touched, and we get that whole sort of sequence of the Doctor sort of dragging Belinda away and sort of seeing the life, I think, yeah, of Belinda. I think that was a real great sort of sequence, wonderfully directed. The main star, sorry, Polish robot, it is Belinda, Verida Sefu, who I had seen before in another Disney show, Andor, which is the best Star Wars Disney show. So I was really excited to see that she was becoming a companion. And yeah, she is wonderful. I really like this new dynamic between her and the Doctor, that there is a little bit of animosity there. She wants to get home, and yeah, she doesn't want any part of this. You can solve your own mysteries. I don't want anything. I just want to turn up to work and do my job. And yeah, I like that we're getting a little bit more friction. That the 15th Doctor and Belinda, they aren't best friends like him and Ruby, where it was just let's go and see these amazing cool things. I like that there's a bit of friction there, and I think that's hopefully will draw out some new characteristics for the 15th Doctor and some new challenges, flesh out his character, and we can explore different facets of the 15th Doctor. That's really neat within there, especially I think that really comes across in the sort of sequence when the Doctor's like, oh, timey-wimey, it's like, what, am I 6? And I think, yeah, there's this wonderful sort of sharp dialogue there and some great one-liners. And I think that this, you know, it feels very much like 12 and Bill in a way, that sort of dynamic. It's sort of very exciting, this dynamic, just to have that little bit of friction there. I guess a very sort of 5th Doctor era in a way, with sort of, maybe not of a sort of dysfunctional nature, but, you know, a character just wants to get home. Really a little bit Tegan Javankar-esque, and I think that's a nice little refreshing take for the companion. Which leads us to the main sort of arc for this series, is getting Belinda home, and the TARDIS can't land in May because Earth's disappeared. This feels very much like Russell T Davies sort of doing a Stephen Moffat style series arc with time fractures and all that type of thing, and things going a little bit wibbly wobbly. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to see where it goes. I'm not going to begin to theorise because I'll probably be disappointed. If I was to sort of find a criticism within this story, I would say probably the whole sort of Sasha 55 thing, I want to say, with the whole sort of her being the Doctor's companion while, you know, the Doctor sort of establishing the rebels and the revolution of the story, really. I think that it probably sounded better on page when it translated on screen. I think we probably needed maybe like something that happened in Joy to the World, with obviously Joy being sort of the main focus, but then having sort of Anita in the middle part. Not that to that sort of length of an extent, but it's literally as soon as Belinda arrived, it's like, bye, you've served your purpose, Belinda's the companion. It sort of feels like we needed sort of have a few scenes with the Doctor and Sasha to sort of buy into that dynamic, and that, you know, they are sort of Doctor companions. And next week's looks very exciting with Lux. That looks like it's going to be a nice sort of fun experimental story. But as a season opener, great fun and did everything it should do. Introduced the new companions, has some really cool ideas. So I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10. I think it's a solid start to this series. And yeah, it's showing a lot of promise. And so far, I think it's delivering. We'll see how long that lasts, and hopefully it sticks to landing with the finale. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this gut check, my reaction to the Robot Revolution. Let me know your thoughts down below, and if you've enjoyed this video, then please do like and subscribe for plenty more Doctor related content coming up in the near future, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.